listening to the Betmaker Show. This is the PGA British Open Betting Odds Preview for Monday, July 8th, 2019. And now, live from Las Vegas, the host of the Betmaker Show, Brian Blessing.
All right, we're going to tee it up for the final major of 2019. That's the British Open, the 148th Open Championship. Someone's going to hoist the claret jug. Royal Portrush Golf Club, Northern Ireland, par 72, 7,337 yards, swales, bumps, links golf at its finest as we bring in our good pal, Cam Stewart. Brian Blessing with you. We love talking golf. Cam and I do this on a weekly basis, and this is, I believe, Cam, of the majors, and I'll say this, my opinion has changed. I always thought the PGA Championship was the most wide open of the majors for many years, but I think you can really narrow the PGA Championship down to, 15 guys, the young studs, and who's going to step up that week. But when you talk about the Open Championship, the laundry list of potential winners is long, and the chance to blow up the tote board is there.
Oh, big time. And you got those guys in the European Tour that are playing these type of courses all the time. The great players on the PGA Tour. I'm with you. Golf has become one of those sports, Brian. That's why we do top fives and top tens now if we can, because one guy wins the golf tournament. And if me and you, we pick second place guys at 150 to 1 consistently, we'd be living on a beach on a golf course, maybe owning one with how many second place bets we've had in our career. We've been close. And I'm not talking about 20 to 1s, people. 125s, 150s, 175s. Hell, I was on Colin Morikawa at 90 to 1. He loses by a stroke because a guy chips in for eagle, the Wolfman. Like week by week, Brian Stewart, we talked about another top five. Exactly. So guys, I know only one guy's going to win this golf tournament, guys, but look for some top fives, top tens, top 20s. We'll give you some real bombs and some guys we like.
Koepka is the favorite at 8 to 1. He's a major machine. We get it. But I will just say this. When you look at this field, I think you should always look at past champions. Spieth, Stenson, McIlroy, Louis Oosthuizen, Darren Clarke, Zach Johnson, Tiger Woods has won 3 times. Of those guys, the one that's a tad appealing to me is Henrik Stenson, with his game starting to round into form. He does not hit driver, but he hits a 3-wood as far as most guys hit driver. And if Stenson's playing from the short grass, I think he can sneak into this under the radar.
I agree. Stenson's battle with Phil Mickelson, the duel was one of the best best rounds of golf I've ever witnessed at the Open Championship. Both guys were on their A game, and it was fantastic to see Henrik Stenson finally win. You can find him at 45.50 to 1. That's a really nice price, Brian. Out of the favorites, Brooks Koepka's always played well at the Open Championship. I'm going to pass at 9 to 1. Rory 9 to 1. Nah, don't really want him. DJ pass, hard pass, and I'll go with John Ramen Noodles. He's a guy that I've been watching the last little while. I wish we could get more than 15 to 1, but I think John Rahm has the perfect type of game. Brian, and he's not like me anymore. He's calming down. He's not that powder keg. Patrick Reed's the new psycho on tour, snapping clubs like twigs. I'll tell you, John Rahm, he's still an emotional guy, but less of a powder keg than he used to be.
The one thing I would say, and we say this when we talk about all sports betting, money management, sometimes when you bet is as important as who you bet.
True.
And John Rahm wins the Irish Open, plummets down to the 15, 16 to 1 range. The one thing I would say, though, is if you look at past winners, Mickelson won the Scottish Open the week before, won his British Open. Ricky Fowler won the Scottish Open and contended and went deep. So I think for John Rahm, that win in the Irish Open is a big deal for him, and confidence is soaring, but knowing he can play this style of golf course.
Yeah, no, and I watched him in the final round of the Irish Open. He was absolutely fantastic from any type of situation. He was driving the ball straight when he didn't. He was just knocking them, even from the fescue and rough. Right, beautiful, like hunting darts all day. Rahm is that type of player. He's good. It's just the number, Brian, that's a little bit unappealing. But there's some guys in the 25 range I think that we really, really like and will be on our betting card for sure.
Dustin Johnson 12-1, Tiger 16-1, coming off the shelf again.
Pass.
Fowler 25-1.
Pass.
How long do we have to wait? Matt Kuchar, Shirley Temple, smiling his way all around the course.
Oh, yeah. Second. Yeah, if you saw his golf bag too, you'd be smiling. I told you, I snuck up to him at the Canadian Open. The guy had a money clip the size of like a triple Big Mac. Get away from me! Get away from me! Don't worry, Mr. Kuchar. I don't want to steal your money, even though I really wanted to. But I'll tell you something. Matt Kuchar 55-1, Brian. That's kind of an interesting price. He's been there before. And let's remember something. The Jordan Spieth lost ball debacle where he got basically 15, 20 minutes. I thought there was a time limit on this thing. Shirley Temple, as you call him. Yeah, Smiling Matt. He was waiting there the whole time. I got to tell you, I would have been a little bit pissed off the way Spieth handled that situation. And I'm surprised the RNA let him find that ball too. It took forever. But Kuchar's always in the mix. 55-1 is pretty good, Brian, but maybe for some top tens, not going to bet him to win.
Two guys, and I know you. I love you like a brother, and I'll guarantee you that you're on board. I got a pretty good feeling you'll be on board with these two guys, and I'm telling you, Britannia, God Save the Queen, Tommy Fleetwood at 25-1, and don't sleep on Matt Wallace at 50-1.
Love Matt Wallace. Been betting him all year, Brian. If you guys like Matt Wallace, you better get him now. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes down to 40. I've seen him as far as 60. Jump on it at that price. You're not going to get much better than that anymore. He is a consistent top 5 and 10 machine on both tours. When he plays in Europe, he's there. When he plays on the PGA Tour, very, very close to being special. He's getting there. Tommy Fleetwood, on the other hand, Mr. Head and Shoulders. Great lid, Tommy. I wish we got a little bit more value. I know since he's been married, he hasn't been as dangerous, but Tommy Fleetwood is settling into married life. He's always a contender. I'm seeing some 28s out there, Brian. I like that, but the one guy I like, and I see a 26, I'm going to jump on it. Francesco Molinari, he is my type of guy, just to keep it in play, make a few putts, and he battled Tiger Woods before in the Open Championship, and basically he took Tiger out to the woodshed. He is not intimidated anymore. He is so solid. If you can get Francesco Molinari at more than like 22-1, I think that's a good price. So Molinari, Fleetwood, and Wallace definitely on my radar.
Believe me, I can't speak to it from experience. But Cam, did you know marriage isn't a word; it's a sentence?
Yeah, a life sentence. Why do you think I'm common law, Brian? I don't tie the knot. I got enough problems in my life. Anyway, let's keep it common law.
Xander Schauffele 25-1. Man, the guy's got a major. I don't like the price.
That's the thing. I like Schauffele a lot, but it's about money management, and we're probably going to bet 5 or 6 guys and take a flyer on some top 10 and 20 guys. I need about 35, 40 to Schauffele. I'm seeing some 28s. He's a great golfer. He should be there, Brian. I just need a little bit more with Xander, one of my favorite golfers. But, hey, the books aren't stupid. They know how good he is, too.
Let me throw 3 grenades at you and see what you think. Rafa Cabrera Bello, 80-1. He had it. He spit the bit in the Irish Open.
I had him at 45-1. I'm still angry.
My apologies. Okay. Kevin Kisner, 125-1, was 2 shots back last year to Molinari, which I think kind of flies under the radar. And I'll tell you, again, this wide open thing, and it's always 1 or 2 shots around, takes this kid out. But I'm thinking over here, 5 new greens, 8 new tee boxes, 10 new bunkers, 2 new holes, but it's links golf. And yeah, there's trouble out there, but the taking the snowman, hitting in the water. How about Sung J M at 150-1? He's going to win soon.
He does. I trust me. I'm like the president of the Sun JM Corporation right now. A lot of top 20s. I got to be honest with you, Sunjay. It'd be nice. I like a little bit, but he hasn't given me that one big score. He's been close. Guys that I like bombs. I agree with you with Kisner. I think he's a must play at a top 10 and 20 bet at the 125-1. I think Brandt Snedeker could play well in the Open Championship if he stays patient. He is a little bit loose with the driver, concerning. And another couple guy, what about the smiling assassin? A guy with a small neck and a huge head, Andy Sullivan, 150-1. Watch out for big Andy Sullivan.
I almost wrote him down.
Yeah, I think Sullivan's a guy I'm going to probably play at top 10s and 20s. Is 150-1. You'll still get a nice price. And if you're looking for another bomb, how do you like your burger, Brian? Burnt Wiesberger, 150 to 1. The Austrian assassin. I like it burnt. Well done, burnt.
For outstanding information and special offerings and promotions, we invite you and encourage you to sign up for our newsletter today simply by going to the website at betmaker.com. It's a major, so there's pressure. But I wonder, McIlroy, McDowell playing at home?
Yeah.
Is it an edge or a disadvantage?
I think for Rory, it's, I don't know. That's a really good question. I like Graham McDowell. I just don't like his price at 55. Like I was hoping to get McDowell around 65, 70. He's down to like 50. He'll be jacked up, ready to go. His game is a little bit better. I saw him at the Canadian Open. Brian, he's close. As for Rory McIlroy, I get it, but 9 to 1, I just can't take him. I prefer Rahm at 14 or 15 to 1 more than McIlroy at 9, even though it's in Ireland.
Okay, so here's the winner because he's the one guy we didn't talk about as an afterthought, which is insane. Justin Rose, 20 to 1.
Yeah, Justin Rose, perfect game for any type of course right now. But I got to be honest with you, Brian, I'm not going to take Justin Rose. I think, watching when Gary Woodland won in the last major, Justin Rose was all over the place. I think he got very lucky. He's hitting his irons a lot looser. I just don't like him at that price. I would not be shocked if he won. I'm just not going to take him on my list. My top bet, I told you, if I'm going to take some chalk, Jon Rahm at 14 to 1 with Molinari and Fleetwood right there in the mid-20s. But I like Rahm a hell of a lot more than Rose even.
You know what? In Molinari, the thing with him, he does not hit it a mile, but he's not short. He's not Zach Johnson short. But you know what? He hits fairways. Molinari is so ultra consistent. I think he has a legitimate opportunity to defend here. I love the tournament. The final thing is what makes it really unique, and that's why I think playing the Irish Open or the Scottish Open is a big advantage because you can play yourself out of it early, is the putting and the speed of the greens over there. I mean, compared to the linoleum floors they're putting the American golfers and on the PGA Tour, then you go over there and all of a sudden, you go from putting on a tile kitchen floor to a shag carpet.
Yeah, and I like the shag carpet, Brian. I like the party. I got to give it a little bit more juice there, and that's going to be interesting. Some of the bad putters are actually going to get them back into contention, so it kind of evens the playing field, as you say, and brings a lot of guys in. So I think it's going to be a great tournament. And yeah, look for some bombs. Some of those guys that play on the European Tour, guys, a handful of guys. Eddie Pepperell, like 80, 90 to 1. Tyrell Hatton, 80, 90 to 1. I like Cabrera Bello. I didn't like the collapse there, but all of those guys too. Watch the Scottish Open. Look at some guys around the top 15, 20 mark. I told you I got on Christian Bezuidenhout at I only got him at 90 to 1 when he won that tournament. I put $5 on him. I wanted to punch myself. Like, come on, Cameron, put $20 on him, win some real money. But a lot of these flyers, we've met these guys before, Brian. We've seen Eddie Pepperell like 175 to 1 almost be there. The Brendan Graces of the world. Like, it's a wide open tournament.
You ready for one crazy one? Just for a couple of chuckles. Could Tom Lehman be this year's Tom Watson? And he said, he shot 7 under par on the PGA Tour. He finished tied 58th. But he shot a 73 in the final round. He dropped 11 spots in the final round. And I think that's a function of just, getting worn down and going against the young bucks. But he said an old guy can't win on the PGA Tour. But he said an old guy can win the British Open because experience and hitting your marks over there is what matters most. And the guy's actually in really good form. It sounds insane, but I can see him with a top 20 finish. I really can.
And I'm looking at him at what? What are you looking at, Brian? 2,000 to 1?
You remember? I'm telling you, you remember? Ball, his game is like Tom Watson's game. If Tom Watson, all the talk of Tiger chasing down Jack Nicklaus, if Tom Watson never got the yips, he could have gone by Jack Nicklaus like he was tied to a post. Tom Watson may be one of the greatest ball strikers of all time. And remember, he was 60. And he had the British Open won and bogeyed the 18th hole.
Yeah, excellent point. Yeah, and then Stewart Sink won, and it's not his fault. It was given to him there, and it would have been probably one of the best sports stories of all time. But I'm with you. I watched Tom Lehman compete this week and put up a pretty decent performance at the 3M in Blaine, Minnesota, and now you're looking at 2001. Why not even in some matchup bets against other older guys, like Paul Lawry's there at 2001. Todd Hamilton, what's he get like? If you can get a Lehman versus Hamilton and even lay some juice, party on, Brian. I love that.
You know what? Let's wrap it up because we're going through all these guys. But I will tell you, and I'm glad you brought up the matchups, because in the U.S. Open, I thought it was Dustin Johnson's to lose, and he lost it. But I'll tell you where I made my money in that tournament. I made money on Victor Hovland.
So did I.
It's a plus price against named players. Listen, Hovland and Matt Wolff. I mean, these two kids that have just blossomed onto the scene, they're not crazy either.
What about Morikawa? I watched this guy. If not for out of those guys that I've seen, he's been actually the best ball striker out of them all. I'm not sure if he's going to win like at the British, if he can find a way to qualify, Brian. But yes, I'm on those guys. I told you I live bet Matt Wolff, the Oklahoma State product, Victor Hovland, Norwegian at Oklahoma State, and Morikawa, the kid from Cal, Golden Bear. Yeah, these kids are not, it's not like the old days. They step on, they're not afraid. They've seen Tiger Woods before. That's what they grew up. And you know what? They step up to guys on the PGA Tour and say, bring it on, man. I'm an amateur champion in the NCAA. I could destroy you. And you've seen Hovland, top 10. He is just murdering it right now. So yes, if those guys, we'll see who qualifies and who's available. But those young guys, definitely worth a sprinkle. Watch out for those three: Wolff, Morikawa, Hovland.
Hovland, I mean, great final round. It flies under the radar because Wolff wins the tournament, but Hovland at the 3M shot 69, 66, 69, 65, and believe me, he did not wilt in the U.S. Open. So these kids, they're too young. They don't know enough to be scared.
No, they don't, and they all hit the ball really well. They have great short games. It's a different world we're living in now, Brian. Those NCAA guys who turn pro, you bet on them. You don't fade them.
Well, you got to love it. I mean, for me, on the West, in the Pacific time zone, let's put it that way, breakfast golf, Bloody Marys and Bailey's coffee, you got to love it.
You're not even going to bed, Brian. You got the Ricola vodka out at 2:30 in the morning there. You might as well just pull an all-nighter for 48 hours. Call it a true bender. You don't even have to sleep.
I used to be able to do that, Cam. It's always the best laid plan. Start watching it at 1 a.m. Probably make it till about 3:30, and back up at 6. But it's a treat, buddy. You're the best. It's hilarious. It's great information. He's Cam Stewart. I'm Brian Blessing, and there is your preview for the 148th Open Championship.
Let's make some money tonight.
Well, that's the Betmaker Show for now. We publish multiple times each week. We'd like to thank you for listening, and if you liked what you heard, please take a moment to leave a rating and review, or subscribe to our show feed, or share our show with a friend or two and help us grow the show. We very much appreciate it. Visit us on the web at betmaker.com, and reminder to sign up for the newsletter. Thanks to our engineer, Darren Vandermolen, and producer, Mike Gallivan. The Betmaker Show is a production of Cardinal Marketing Incorporated. Betmaker is a registered trademark. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this content without the express written consent of Cardinal Marketing Incorporated is strictly prohibited.
The handicapping and sports odds information contained on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm the wagering regulations in your jurisdiction, as they vary from state to state, province to province, and country to country. Using this information to contravene any law or statute is prohibited. The podcast is not associated with, nor is it endorsed by any professional or collegiate league, association, or team. This podcast does not target and is not intended for an audience under the age of 18. If you think that you have a gambling addiction, stop this podcast now and please seek help.
Gambling and betting on sports is a form of entertainment and should be about having a good time. But when done excessively, it may negatively affect other areas of a person's life, such as their physical and mental health, school or work performance, finances, and/or interpersonal relationships. at betmaker.com. And the Betmaker Show, we're concerned about the addiction that gambling may cause, and for this reason, we encourage everyone to practice responsible gambling, an approach to gambling that helps you ensure that it remains an enjoyable activity. Here are the main principles of responsible gambling. Don't think of gambling as a way to make money. Always gamble with money that you can afford to lose. Set limits and stick to them. Never chase losses. Don't gamble when you're depressed or upset, and create a healthy balance. Always be aware of how much time you spend gambling or thinking about gambling. And do not allow gambling to cause you to miss out on time with family and friends or time spent on other activities you enjoy. By following these guidelines, gambling can be a good time and great entertainment. If you feel at any time that your gambling is taking away from important areas of your life, is causing you stress or depression, or is leading to financial losses that are beyond your control, please reach out for help. Learn more at responsiblegambling.org.